Hi everyone, this is Boogass Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the DC Multiverse Flash and Superman figures. So before we take a look at them, let's take a look at the only accessories that they come with, the Build-A-Figure pieces. So Flash comes with this one's the right one, the left leg, and Superman comes with the lower torso and head of Steppenwolf. So I'm going to go ahead and put it together here. Let's see here. Head kind of snaps on there a little tightly. There's the lower torso. Let's go ahead and put the legs on. Now you will probably have to stretch out there like that so that you can get the leg in there. Actually, that went in easier than I thought it would. There. So there's Steppenwolf all put together. So now, before we take a look at Flash, let's take a look at Superman. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the review. So for the head sculpt isn't bad, but I really don't see the likeness of Henry Cavill at all. I mean, and the head is a different shade, like the skin color is different than his neck and hands, which is really, really odd. You can see that his fists are lighter than his head. It's almost, well, I know that they changed the head sculpt for this Justice League figure, because this is basically just a remold and with some slight variations from the Batman vs. Superman version of Superman. And I will show that right now. I did mod this one out with a fabric cape, just like I did with the Batman one, because the plastic cape just wasn't that great. So if you look here, I think that the Batman vs. Superman version actually had the better likeness here. I don't know, this one just doesn't look like Henry Cavill at all. But I do think that this one does, the Batman vs. Superman version. I don't know why they didn't just, since Wonder Woman was just a complete repack, I don't know why they didn't just repack this as this. Maybe just a different color or something like that. But I really love this cape because the cape is the same material as the Superpower Superman from the original Kenner line. And it looks really nice. It is a little see-through though. But I really like that. And now the colors on his suit are different as well. The Batman vs. Superman version is this bright blue and bright red. And the colors on the Justice League movie Superman are darker. And like I said, I'm not sure why it wasn't just a straight up repack, because I don't think that the colors needed to be any darker. This is pretty accurate. Look, that's the main differences there. So for the suit, like I said, there's the difference in color, but it's basically the same as the Batman vs. Superman version. All of the details and everything's the same. The suit looks really nice, but one thing that I do find odd is the collar right here to his cape. The collar to his cape is a hard plastic, and that kind of looks funny like that. I think that the whole thing should have just been fabric, instead of just, I don't know, kind of looks odd. Especially since the whole cape is fabric, and then the collar piece right here is hard plastic. But the whole suit has a texturing throughout, which is really nice. And there you can see better that the head and his hands are two different skin tones, because they just used a different head for this figure. And they didn't use different hands, which is kind of odd. But not much more going on his feet. And that's about all for this figure. I do like that he did come with a fabric cape, though. That was definitely an improvement from the Batman vs. Superman version, because the cape was really hard plastic, and it was heavy, and it would just weigh the figure down, and it just kept falling over. So I'm glad that Mattel gave this one a fabric cape. So now let's go over the articulation. He's got a swivel at the head that can move side to side. It can actually look up and down, so that's really good. Can't really pivot side to side. He's got ball jointed shoulders that can move out that far. He's got a swivel at the bicep, single jointed elbow, swivel at the wrist, swivel at the waist, double swivel hips that can do a complete split. He can kick forward just a little bit. He can't kick forward all the way. He can kick back just a little bit, and he can kick back more than the Batman vs. Superman version could because of this the soft goods cape. He's got a swivel at the thigh, but on his right leg the swivel doesn't work. On the left leg it works just fine, but this one won't move at all. He's got a single jointed knee and a swivel at the ankle. So this one does improve a couple things from the Batman vs. Superman version, but I really don't like the head sculpt because to me that downgraded. The first one was perfect just the way it was, and Mattel tried to change it, and it just doesn't look like the actor. So now, let's take a look at the Flash. Now for the head sculpt on this one, I definitely have to say this is probably the best figure out of the whole wave. There's no reused parts or anything, and the head sculpt is phenomenal, because I think this looks very much like Ezra Miller. Like, it doesn't even have to be an unmasked head, and you can still tell that that's him, which I really like that. I think the skin tone is good on it too. I like how this Flash, unlike the CW Flash, this is more like a Flash armor instead of like a costume, and it looks really nice. If you look, his eyes, the paint apps on his eyes has like a little glimmer of light in them, so that's a really nice attention to detail. I'd say that Mattel went definitely above and beyond with this figure. Flash logo came out really nicely, and all these wires that's on the suit, not really sure what they are. They look really nice, and they came out really clean. I was surprised about that, because with tiny lines like this, usually the paint doesn't go on them like they should. Usually it's not where it should be. Like, normally the lines would be like down here. But the paint apps on this are amazing, as well as the sculpting, because in between all the armor plates, it has a mesh kind of texture to it, which looks nice. And I did notice that his gauntlets, like the forearm armor, it's a slightly different color of red. It's just a little bit darker, but nothing really major. But this figure is just really, really awesome. Plus, it's the first DC Multiverse figure to have double jointed knees too, so they definitely improved upon the articulation on this figure. My only complaint is that he didn't come with alternate running hands. That would have been awesome. But I was able to, these are removable because they remolded this for the Target 2-pack version. I was able to use Iron Fist's hands, for the Marvel Legend, the karate hands. I repainted them and cut the peg down just a little bit and used it for running hands, so you can do that, which is really nice. Now you've got the lightning bolt right there on the elbow, which looks really nice. Now, one thing that does bother me, I hate it when figures have this. The copyrights and everything is on his butt. It should be on the bottom of his feet, because he has no detail or anything on the bottoms of his feet. So I think that Mattel should have put it right there instead of on his butt. But this figure is really nice, and the articulation is even better. So now I'm going to go ahead and go over the articulation. And you can see that he can stand perfectly by himself, which is another nice thing. He's got a swivel at the head that can move side to side, and up and down just a little bit, not very much. He's got ball-jointed shoulders that can move out that far. His right shoulder can actually move out farther than his left shoulder. He's got a swivel at the bicep, swivel at the elbow. It's kind of odd, because the swivel doesn't move up that much, and then it has this kind of odd swivel right here. It's kind of odd, but it actually works pretty well. It looks a little unsightly when it's down like that, but once you actually move it, it looks just fine. He's got a swivel at the wrist. He's got an ab crunch that can move back just a little bit, and really not down much, because that's basically the way he was standing when I first started this review, so it really doesn't have much, but still, that's a welcome piece of articulation right there. He's got a swivel at the waist. He's actually got ball-jointed hips. That's another thing. I'm not a fan of those double swivel hips. He's actually got ball-jointed hips that's pretty much a split, so he can do a split. He can kick forward all the way and back all the way. He's got a swivel at the thigh, double-jointed knee, which can bend in that far. It can't bend that much, but still, a double jointed knee for DC Multiverse figures is very nice. And he's got a swivel at the ankle that can move up and down, and it kind of acts as a little bit of an ankle pivot. You can see that it's kind of moving like that. It doesn't move much, but I was definitely happy to see that this figure had that much articulation, because now I think most DC Multiverse figures are going to have this articulation, starting with the Clayface wave. So this figure definitely is my favorite figure out of the wave, just because the only complaint I had with it was he doesn't come with alternate hands, and that's not really a complaint. That's just something I would have liked to have seen with the figure. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So here he is next to Superman. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get all of the Justice League into the shot here. I hope they'll stand up too, because Wonder Woman gave me problems in the last review I did. And then Batman. Aquaman. Oh, Aquaman's not going to fit there. And then Cyborg. He doesn't stand up too well because of those weird toes that he has. But here, all the Justice League are together. And then I wanted to go ahead and show the previous versions of these figures together. So, here is Superman next to the previous Superman. And I still think this version is better, because I think the likeness is better. The likeness isn't 100%, but the likeness is still better. And then here is the Flash next to the CW Flash. You can see this one is a lot shorter, and you can see the differences too. Like, the CW version is a suit, it's more of a costume, and this is an armor. This is like an armored suit, which I really love this suit. Kind of looks more tactical too, which is another reason I like it. And then here, Flash and Superman are next to this Steppenwolf Build-A-Figure now that he's all together. And you can see that he barely fits in frame there, because this is a huge Build-A-Figure. He's just really tall. So overall, the Superman figure isn't my favorite, but the Flash one definitely is. That's my favorite figure out of the wave, so I would highly recommend it. So that's my review, and if you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.